Laura was appointed HCC Market Development Manager in October 2010. She has over 10 years' experience in the marketing industry, and her previous work includes brand manager for Tynant Spring Water and account manager with FBA in Aberystwyth, with responsibilities for marketing Rachel's Organics. Since joining HCC, Laura has overseen the creation of the new Quality Time campaign for Welsh beef and lamb. She is also a fluent speaker in both French and Italian. Laura.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak to you all today about the work that HCC is undertaking on a global scale on behalf of the Welsh red meat industry. I'd like to start by outlining the overarching objectives of the work the market development team at HCC does in order to give some context to the slides that will follow. So fundamentally, all of our work is designed to deliver the best possible returns for both Welsh lamb and Welsh beef and pork from Wales in order to contribute to the very important objective of increasing the profitability of the Welsh red meat industry, and that applies across the whole supply chain. Two key strategies underpin all of our work, therefore. The first is to premiumise Welsh red meat so that both processors and producers can command premium prices for their products. And the second is to identify and pursue high-value markets and market sectors where customers and consumers alike are not only seeking premium products, but are equally willing to pay the premium prices that the Welsh lamb, Welsh beef and pork from Wales brands can command. Essentially, the aim is to avoid Welsh red meat being traded as a commodity product that competes on price alone. And this is only achieved by creating premium brands that occupy the top end of the highest value markets and market sectors, both in the UK and beyond. So, where does export fit into this approach? Well, export is important on a number of levels. Firstly, even at its peak, domestic consumption will never be sufficient for the Welsh red meat industry to serve only its own home market. To highlight this, it's estimated that 5% of red meat produced in Wales is currently consumed in the home market, and that simply comes down to the fact that the population just isn't large enough to consume any more, even with the best will in the world. So, looking slightly further afield, further 60% of the sheep meat and 82% of the beef produced in Wales is consumed elsewhere in Great Britain, meaning that the UK is clearly a very important market for the Welsh red meat industry. As you'll all be aware already, HCC is very active in raising awareness of both the Welsh lamb and Welsh beef brands, as well as pork from Wales, in the UK. Excuse me. And we undertake regular consumer-facing campaigns designed to raise awareness of and stimulate demand for both Welsh lamb and Welsh beef, as well as pork from Wales. These include TV, radio, press, outdoor and digital advertising, as well as PR and consumer events, social media and website communications, plus complementary in-store activities such as point of sale and recipe leaflets and on-pack promotions. The key messages in our campaigns are always to promote the versatility, the convenience and the high quality of the Welsh red meat brands, and as well value for money, which, as we've seen from John's presentation earlier, is a key factor influencing purchase in the UK at the moment. We also work with retailers and food service producers on product innovation projects that are aimed to develop products that respond to the ever-changing demands of the industry and consumer wants and needs. Products that will be convenient, healthy and delivered at an acceptable price point for the UK consumers. Whilst this work is clearly very important, and it is work HCC is committed to continuing, as again we've seen from John's presentation earlier, it is a fact that UK consumption of lamb in particular has seen some decline in recent years, and this is in large part due to the high price point of lamb at a particularly difficult time for the economy. Whilst there have been some green shoots in recent months, as highlighted in the Chairman's opening remarks, the category has become increasingly reliant on price promotions to drive sales of lamb through the UK retail sector. This downward pressure on prices is, of course, eventually passed along the supply chain. So an over-reliance on the UK market, although it is a very important market and one we continue to support and protect, an over-reliance on the market is not likely to deliver the high returns that HCC is seeking to achieve for the Welsh red meat industry on its own. It's therefore important that we seek alternative markets to underpin the high prices we all want to see the industry achieve. The good news is that these markets do exist, and export can help and is helping to deliver these high returns. Global demand is increasing, whilst global supply has been shrinking, and this has been a crucial factor in keeping returns high. This not only applies to commodity sheep meat and beef products, but increasingly to the higher value premium end of the market as well. And it's in no small part thanks to the increased disposable income of emerging markets such as China, for example. The other major positive about the export market is that different markets can provide opportunities for certain cuts and carcass specifications which are not so highly sought after in the UK. Lighter lambs, for example, are not so favoured in the UK these days, but there is a demand for the lighter carcass specification in Mediterranean markets, including Spain, Portugal and Italy. And these are all markets where HCC is very proactive in developing opportunities for the Welsh red meat industry and its products. And I'm sure Jeff Martin, our Italian agent, will touch on the importance of the Italian market in this regard in his presentation later. Export also provides market opportunities for fifth quarter products such as hides, skins and offals, and this is absolutely a crucial factor in ensuring the returns that processors and producers alike require in order to generate the profitability required to sustain the Welsh red meat industry. So how does all of this translate into value to the industry? Well, I'm delighted to be able to tell you that all of HCC's hard work and effort alongside the rest of the supply chain and the rest of the Welsh red meat industry has been paying off handsomely. The export trade for Welsh sheep and beef products smashed all previous records in 2011 to stand at almost £250 million. The value of the Welsh lamb and Welsh beef exports alone at 200 million is £53 million higher than the corresponding figure of 2010. When you add to that a further 40 million gained by the Welsh economy through the export of sheep skins, cattle hides and offal, the total value of exports in 2011 was £240 million, which is obviously a very important sum of money both for the Welsh red meat industry as well as for the Welsh economy as a whole. The huge boost in the value of exports was fueled by an increased demand from established markets in Europe, coupled with the opening up of opportunities in new and developing markets, including Scandinavia and markets further afield, such as Canada. So, what has all of this success been built on? Well, firstly, HCC has been capitalising on the opportunities presented by the export market by aggressively promoting our products in high-value markets overseas, emphasising their high quality and branding them as premium products. The objectives have been to protect our established European markets, most notably France, where 70% of Welsh lamb exports is destined, and Italy, which is an increasingly important market for Welsh lamb in particular, but also Welsh beef. And also, as well as protecting these existing markets and established markets, we've been working hard to grow new and developing markets. This twofold approach has been crucial in the current economic climate in order to ensure that red meat exporters from Wales can capitalise on opportunities both within and beyond the very important Eurozone. We've achieved this by undertaking a variety of different activities, including brand building and awareness building activities, as well as trade development activities and consumer-facing campaigns as appropriate and tailored for each specific market. Alongside this, HCC has also been pressing ahead with our efforts to gain access to important markets where we're currently unable to export, and this includes China, Russia and the United States as key priority market access destinations. So, key to the success of Welsh red meat exports has been to understand what drives global meat purchasing and to create a brand that delivers on these demand drivers. I think it goes without saying that buyers are looking for traditional factors such as taste and value, and some of the factors that John mentioned in his presentation earlier, value for money, price, these are increasingly important. The Welsh brand can obviously deliver on these taste and quality value drivers. However, at the very top end of the market, where a price premium that we're seeking can be commanded, both the trade and consumers across the globe are looking for something more for their money. Increasingly, they're looking for safe, healthy, natural products produced with high standards of animal welfare that come from a trusted and traceable provenance source. These demand drivers have presented a number of significant opportunities for the Welsh red meat industry, as our products absolutely deliver on all levels. The image of Wales from the wet climate, the quality of our grassland and our family farming heritage has combined to create a powerful country of origin brand and premium brand image for Welsh red meat. And it is this, along with the brand's PGI status, which has underpinned HCC's efforts on a global scale. As a result, Welsh lamb in particular is now a global brand known throughout the world for its superior quality. It not only represents all that is great about our farming industry, but it also, on many occasions, flies the flag for Wales as a country across the world. It's perhaps best summed up by the quote on the slide there from our respected chef and Welsh Lamb Club member, Anthony Demetra, who said, "I find Welsh lamb is the tastiest, maybe because they have so much lush green grass on which to graze. Whatever it is, the farmers are doing something right." This is the message upon which all of HCC's global marketing activities are built. Farmers' expertise, farming heritage, environmental credentials. The result is that the logos that you see here on the screen have now become synonymous with quality, provenance and heritage associations of PGI, Welsh lamb in particular, but also the Welsh beef brands and pork from Wales. And retail and food service customers across the globe are now increasingly seeking out branded Welsh lamb, PGI Welsh lamb, more than ever before. So now I'd just like to show you a few examples of some of HCC's export marketing activities, in this instance for Welsh lamb in particular. Firstly, you'll see here some examples of HCC's consumer-facing materials, which include print advertising, digital advertising, PR activity and point-of-sale materials, all designed to raise awareness of and stimulate demand for Welsh lamb amongst the consumer market of these overseas markets by highlighting and emphasising the positive attributes of Welsh lamb and its associated PGI status. Obviously, there's little point raising awareness and demand for Welsh lamb, for the Welsh lamb brand, if the product is not clearly identified at point of sale. So HCC also worked closely with key retail and food service accounts overseas in order to raise brand visibility at the point of sale. This includes ensuring that product is clearly labelled with the logos that we saw earlier. Point of sale materials including shelf wobblers, chalkers, posters, recipe leaflets to give inspiration, and also, when required and when appropriate, undertaking in-store tasting to stimulate interest in purchase when people are actually in the supermarkets. As well as consumer-facing programmes in export markets, HCC is active in trade development activities on a global scale in order to identify and pursue commercial opportunities in both new and existing markets for our Welsh red meat export partners. Examples of activities undertaken this year alone include a whole host of inward and outward missions designed to connect prospective customers from key markets, both established and developing markets, with Welsh red meat exporters. We've also undertaken several exploratory market visits to new and emerging markets, as well as attending key trade shows in the largest and most profitable international markets alongside exporting partners. Most recently, HCC attended one of the biggest trade shows in Europe, as we heard in the Deputy Minister's speech earlier, CIAL in Paris. alongside representatives from 4 of the largest red meat exporting plants in Wales, and we will be attending a further 3 international shows in the coming months alone. Another important element of HCC's export activity is pursuing market access to potentially large markets where the Welsh red meat industry is not currently able to export. These new markets are important on a number of different levels. Firstly, the challenging economic climate and increasing cost of lamb in particular has seen consumption stabilise or in some cases decline slightly in the more established markets. Whilst these markets remain very important to the Welsh red meat industry in value terms, we must also look to new and emerging markets as export destinations in order to maintain overall volumes of exported product. The good news is that thanks to the increase in disposable income in emerging markets such as China in particular, there are plenty of export opportunities globally where Welsh red meat can be exported and command a price premium. The growing population in China has resulted in there being an insufficient domestic lamb production to meet demand, and the demand continues to increase with the growing wealth of the consumer market in China. Traditionally, only 3 countries, being Uruguay, Australia and New Zealand, have been permitted to export sheep meat to mainland China, and these countries can and have commanded high prices for their products. Currently, this unsatisfied demand appears to support a grey import trade to China, and HCC is working very hard to try and gain direct access to China for Welsh red meat exporters in order to provide alternative export opportunities which will help spread risk, as well as increasing returns by being able to export to that destination directly. It's worth noting as well that China does come with the added benefit of having demand for all that is perhaps not so popular in the UK, particularly heads, hooves and spine bones, all of which are actually dedicated cuisine in China. HCC, as you heard earlier as well from the Minister, will be hosting an exploratory market visit to China later this month as part of our efforts to gain access to this market. It's not a simple or quick process, and gaining access to third markets can be time and a resource-hungry process, but it's one that is absolutely worth investing in. This mission to China actually follows a similar mission which we took part in with the European Commissioner some 18 months ago, when we went over to China as part of the European Commission's effort to see PGI gain equivalent recognition in China. So I think that relates as well to the question that you asked earlier. PGI in third countries is becoming increasingly recognised and increasingly important. And of course, on top of that, alongside PGI as an accreditation, the Welsh Brand itself is becoming increasingly sought after and acts as a platform for all kinds of products, whether that be organic, halal, salt marsh. The Welsh Lamb brand itself, alongside its PGI accreditation, is very important both within and beyond Europe. So, to finish up, looking to the future, demand is likely to continue to outstrip supply globally, and this will likely play its part in contributing to keeping returns high for the Welsh red meat industry. Our job at HCC, therefore, is to continue to protect our most profitable existing markets and market sectors, as well as pursuing new and emerging market sectors that are willing and able to deliver these high returns. Key to achieving success in these markets, as I've already touched on, will be continuing to premiumise the Welsh red meat brands, evolving the brands in line with global demand drivers, and communicating our key messages through more trade and consumer-facing awareness and brand-building activities, as well as trade and market development activities to find new customers in these markets. The outcome of these efforts will be a profitable and sustainable Welsh red meat export industry, which will complement the work we're currently undertaking and will continue to undertake in our home and UK market to achieve the best possible returns for the Welsh red meat industry. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions later.